This episode of Earn Your Happy is sponsored in part by Shopify, Quince Open Phone, and Northwest Registered Agent. Turn your big business idea into cha-ching with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/happy. See why over 60,000 businesses trust Open Phone. Open Phone is offering my listeners 20% off of your first 6 months at openphone.com/earn. Don't wait. Protect your privacy, build your brand, and set up your business in just 10 clicks in 10 minutes. Visit northwestregisteredagent.com/earn. Let your bed match the season with cool, relaxed bedding from Quince. Go to quince.com/happy for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns.
Manifesting doesn't necessarily feel good.
No, it's terrible.
This cute little hobby of yours is costing us so much money, and we don't have that money anymore.
Is that when you learned how to drop it like it's hot?
It's literally, I dropped something.
Distract.
Exactly. Now watch this. Yeah. Give me the money, honey. I need that sparkly bikini.
And a woman was like, excuse me, I just have to interrupt. That was everything I needed to hear today. I showed up today and I was going to quit. I literally remember being like, fuck, I was going to quit. Now you can't quit.
I literally could not understand. I'm like, you have this platform. You're fucking hilarious. You're amazing on stage.
Go on.
And I just had this, you're so hot. Your butt is so round. Your hair is so like, it's crazy.
The moment you call in your next expansion, you're asking to be shown where you're limited.
I just need to stop waiting for someone to anoint me, and I need to anoint myself.
The only limit is how big I can think.
This is the part of manifesting that is so important, you guys, is we forget.
We've prepared a delicious topic for you tonight, and I know some of the people in the room are going to be really excited. We're going to talk about manifesting. We're going to talk about how when we reflect back on both of our journeys, there is a unique and distinct formula that a lot of our success, a lot of our moments that have really catapulted us to the next level have followed. And I was listening to another podcast where they were talking about this, to pay attention to the patterns within your own way of manifesting. How when you do, you can actually look for where it'll give you insight into where you're maybe stuck or where you can create momentum now that you aren't currently experiencing. Because I don't know about anyone else, but can you look back at other seasons of your business or your life where you were really like making shit happen, and then you get to another phase and you stop doing the shit that works? Mm-hmm. Anyone? Just me? Mm-hmm. So I was really reflecting on this conversation, and then we were together on a girls' trip. We get together and do a mastermind twice a year with a bunch of, entrepreneurs that a lot of you already know and love. And Lori is sharing with the group a story of how she really made it in the fitness industry. And all I could hear was this podcast conversation that I had just been listening to. It was almost like I was hearing my friend share her unique manifestation pattern and the things that she did to overcome the things that felt like blocks, the things that felt like they were in her way in order to become, you were legendary in the fitness industry. People kind of forget. You're like actually legendary in the fitness industry. Like, she accomplished things that people, like, no one had done. She won Miss Bikini America, or was it Universe?
It was both.
I was like, okay. Casual. And Miss Fitness America / Universe in the same year. That had never been done before. And I remember this was actually around the time that you and I, like, our paths started to cross through fitness, through network marketing. So we're going to kind of unpack this using both of our stories tonight. But what we want you to be listening for, I want you to think back to a time in your life where you did something really bold. You really look back on, it's like a timestamp. You were one person before, then there was this really transformative period of time, and who you were on the other side was not the same. And we want to start to invite everyone who's here with us live in person, everyone who's listening to the audio experience or watching on YouTube, to reflect on their own journey. And we're going to start to look for clues for where you can find your next keys to creating momentum. Because ultimately, that is what this information can provide, is it can provide you a glimpse into the places where you can tap into. Because if it's worked before, it means you have access to those same tools, to that same energy, and you can bring it into your current life and whatever it is that you are manifesting. So do we want to start with your story of what was going on in your life before you really got your big break in fitness? Because to me, when I heard you sharing this with the group, it was laced with all of these patterns that really, it's an energy that I watch you now tapping into as you're building Glossy, but it had so much wisdom for you and what you specifically do when you're really taking things to the next level.
I love that. Yeah, I would love to start with that. And thanks for bringing me back to that, because it's a really important thing for me to hear again, because I'm in a whole new season where it feels really easy to forget what that is. Because when you're in the portion where you're learning all the new things, it's like you forget like what manifesting even feels like. And manifesting can literally just feel like one more thing to check off that box, and it starts to feel like a chore. So I'm so excited for this, because it just, even us talking about it in there, it kind of like dropped me right back in. So I hope that it does that for you guys. So let's go back to when I first started doing fitness competitions. It's so fun because we've got another cover girl in the house as well, which is so fun. I'm like,
Felicia.
I want to hear her manifesting story later, because there has to be one in order to do that. Like, it's very real. Okay, so if I went back to that time, that was a time where I would say the biggest thing that I was struggling with was massive imposter syndrome around the fact of not being smart enough. And not being educated and not being qualified whatsoever. I was a high school dropout. I just left a fairly restrictive religion where it was very much like the things that I did in that religion would not have, like, fitness did not necessarily work within that religion. So mind you, around this time, there's only like 6 years in between the identity that I grew up with my entire life. And you guys know 6 years in the land of breaking old patterns is not a whole lot, especially when you're about to put yourself out there and your family still has this idea and this identity of exactly who you are. So I'm fighting in the world of, oh my God, if I go and be the person that I want to be, like, my family's gonna see. And this is gonna, like, really, I don't know what it's gonna do. I don't know if I'm gonna be kicked out eternally, or I don't know if this is gonna ruffle feathers. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to handle what's gonna come with me putting myself out there in this way, like the imposter syndrome and who the heck does she think she is? Because also at the time, all of my friends were big drinkers, big partiers. I was living in Wisconsin. It was very much like, if I told a girlfriend that I worked with, I showed her a cover and I said, I want to do this. And she was like, that's funny. Like, and she really meant it. And she's like, oh, you really want to do this? Like, yeah, we'll see. Like, I got that all of the time because it wasn't normal. It wasn't seen. Like, it was just very not normal, not what we have right now. So I'm dealing with all of those things. And I start in the fitness industry, in the fitness world. And not the fitness industry. I just start trying to compete. Like, that sounded like I was making money or something. No, I was giving them lots of money. Like, a photo shoot, anything. Just like, please pay attention to me. So I was very much in a place of fear and lack and not feeling like I was educated enough. And so at that point, I had started to set some goals. And thankfully, really early, I understood that in order to get to my goals, I have to go be with a group or be with a team or go be with a network of people, just kind of like what we're doing here and what I know a lot of you are doing in this room, like getting in those rooms and moving forward in a mastermind or a group. So I found that in the fitness world, which helped me realize, oh, other people are doing this and they all have the same exact like fear. They all have the same lack of support from their family, from their friends. But within this little space, we can kind of go and move in this world and hold each other accountable and do it together. And so I started competing. I competed about 4 years. I did okay, but I never seemed to place like first or I think second place. Like, it was always like third, fourth, fifth, ninth, third, fourth, fifth. Like, it was just kind of all over the place like that. And, it had been 4 years of doing that. And my husband and I, some of you know the story that we ended up being in a really rough financial situation right during that time, kind of like where my years of patience with Chris was starting to fizzle out of, is this the hobby? And you're not really, we're paying a whole lot of money for you to do this. And so the conversation at home started to get really intense of, this cute little hobby of yours is costing us so much money, and we don't have that money anymore. And it was like, that cute little hobby was my life's purpose and dream. So you can imagine the spice that arose in the household.
Is that when you learned how to drop it like it's hot?
It's literally, yeah, I dropped something.
Distract.
Exactly. Now watch this. Yeah. Give me the money, honey. I need that sparkly bikini. It cost a lot of money. Those little Swarovski crystals are expensive.
They're so fucking expensive.
Why?
Every single one.
I was like, could we just use glitter? No, that would not have worked. So at that time, but you thought about it. At that time, it was really the battle of, okay, do I stop this? Do I keep going? And I remember I would stand in front of my vision board, because this is a long time ago. I was kind of like one of the first towards vision boards. In fact, I know a lot of you in this room were. But I had this vision board up next to my bed, and it had a bunch of covers of all of these women whose magazines I bought, like all of the time. It was the women that I just like aspired to be like. And I would stand in front of it daily and look at it and picture myself, as a cover girl, and the things that it would like bring in my life. And I had this moment where I was standing in front of my vision board, and nothing was seeming to go my way, like, because I wasn't looking at the things that were. I was very much in like the poor me, I'm never going to make it. Why are some of these girls that I, have started competing with over the past 4 years, they've gotten the covers, they're getting the attention, they're getting the contracts, they're starting to get paid. And I was feeling really bad. And this, in that moment, what was happening is I was going back like through my past and looking for all the times things didn't work out. And guess what I found? All of the evidence of this probably actually won't work for you, because nothing has worked for you. And I just brought in everything of like, oh wow, yeah, I just kind of like, everything takes really long for me, and I just kind of always finish under everybody else. And so this was my story. And I had this moment in front of this vision board by myself at home where I'm staring at it, and I was like, I'm never going to get there. Like, I'm probably never going to get that. And so I want you to picture right now that thing that you really want, and just having that come to Jesus moment of saying to yourself, like, you're probably never going to get that, like deciding in that moment, because that's what we're doing, right? And I just had a moment of deciding, like, I'm probably never going to get that. And I threw myself on my bed that was next to it, and I literally had a full-on adult breakdown. Like, I beat the bed, I was screaming, like doing the ugly cry. And we've all done it before, where you're just like exhausting yourself and you're getting it all out. And you have this realization that no one was there to see the beauty of what you just did. You're just like, that was so good. Like, that was
some of my finest work.
That was my finest work. That was truly was my finest breakdown. So you're kind of like, or you're like it's actually exhausting to continue. Like, continue doing it.
Then you kind of catch yourself in the mirror.
And you're like,
God, I look so beautiful.
Do I look cute if I cry that way? And you're like, no, I
Anybody?
don't.
No?
I'm kidding. I was kidding about that last part.
Just me.
So in that exact moment, you have this like higher self moment. And I know you've had these, and we have to like bank on these. Please, God, send me more of them. But I had this higher self moment of, why do I actually want that thing? Like, why do we want the thing? And this is the part we forget. This is the part of manifesting that is so important, you guys, is we forget why we actually want it. And we forget that we can go and create that without someone. So I thought to myself, okay, I want community. I wanted community so bad I could taste it. And I thought that maybe by winning these things or getting these covers that I'd finally feel like what a popular girl felt like. Because let me tell you, being raised in the religion I was raised in, you don't feel popular, do you? She was raised in my same religion. You're very much like an outcast. And I think that can stay with you. So I remember just thinking like, okay, I want community. Like, it's not the popularity that I want. Actually, the underlying of the popularity is feeling wanted, is feeling community. And it's feeling like I need to want myself. And I have to find myself valuable. Okay. And so I was like, what else do I want? I want to feel like an inspiration to people. I want to feel like I'm a leader. Like, I know that I'm a teacher and I'm a leader. So I'm, wanting to be able to lead these communities. And that was when I said to myself, I'm like, oh my God, I just need to stop waiting for someone to anoint me, and I need to anoint myself. And I had the moment of, I need to cut out the middleman. So in every single thing that we're trying to manifest and create, there's someone or something that you're putting in the middle that you believe is going to give it to you. And it's the hardest part about it, and the most beautiful part about it, is the realization that the only person who can give it to you is yourself. And that's so confronting because it comes with a lot of work. And I would be lying if I sat here and said that it wasn't the most challenging portion of manifesting that is going to come with manifesting. So, you know, in the moment of I'm cutting out the middleman, I'm going to anoint myself. It was what are the things that I could be doing now that will create that? So I started a YouTube channel. I started something called Busy Girl Healthy Life, and I started cooking turkey sausage on YouTube constantly because
dropping it like it's hot.
It was my best recipe. So a bunch of other things as well. I was cooking on YouTube, and then I created a community at my little gym that I had, my little gym space. I was like, okay, how could I create more community within this fitness community or within the community that I have? And so I started putting on every single weekend. It felt like I was either doing an empowerment thing, or I was doing a workout type thing, or I was doing a Sunday session where you all got together and you worked out and you learned how to pose or be on stage. And I started getting the community that I wanted. And I started, creating like the leadership positions, and I started getting attention for the cooking stuff that I was doing. And I put out a self-published cookbook. So with all of that said, I finally started getting attention from the magazine because I had been turned down so many times. So for 4 years straight, I was pitching myself the whole time. And it was, you're not the right look. You're not the girl for us. You're never going to get this cover. Like, it was very, very like, you're not our girl. Could you please stop? And I kept going.
Wasn't there even like a time that you had paid out of your own pocket to go and do the shoot, and then they told you you weren't getting the cover?
Yes. During that time of our brokenness, I just want to bring you back there where I had literally zero money. They had given me a call. This was kind of when I had started this stuff. And they said, you know, we'd love to do a test shoot cover with you. And I was like, this is it. This is my moment. You guys, I was freaking out, and you're not supposed to tell anyone because it's a test shoot and you don't know if you're going to get it. But imagine going up for a test cover shoot and flying to Canada, Toronto, and being like, this is it. Like, you get to shoot for an entire day. You shoot all the layouts. You shoot a cover all day long. And then you leave and you don't know if you're getting the cover and you can't tell anyone. And so I'm thinking, I definitely have this cover. I spent all the money on outfits because as much as we would love to think that you get paid and it's glamorous, you pay for your way and you pay for all of your outfits and you pay for everything. And so I get up there during our time of brokenness paying for everything. And I'm like, Chris, this is it. Like, this is the moment. This is amazing. 3 months later, I get a call. Oh, we're not using your cover. I'm like, okay. And of course, you have the breakdown moments. But also, I just felt so clear on the path that I was able to create myself that I was like, this isn't like, that's not the end. Even though it felt like the kiss of death, because they actually say in fitness, if you don't get a cover used, it's the kiss of death because they didn't like you or you did something wrong. But you're left with no answer. And I was like, that's okay, because we're going to keep on going. And for me, manifesting has always, you brought me back to that by even telling that story of the realization that somewhere within there, whenever I'm trying to do something, I'm giving my power to something or someone. So it's a huge manifestation block for me. So the formula for me is to go and do deep work around, right now I'm trying to manifest something. Who am I giving my power away to? Whether it's something with my company going, oh, when I find that person on that team who can do that, that's when we'll do it, right? That's when this will shift. When we finally figure out X, that seems like something, you know, outside of what I can do right now, or it's not going to be me who's going to be able to do it, that's when that's going to start working. And it's having the moment of, oh, I'm really relying heavily on giving someone my power or relying on someone else because there's some sort of work there that I'm avoiding deeply because it's very confronting, and it's probably it probably has the potential to give me some like really scary rejection or some really confronting things about me. Like, maybe you're not smart. Maybe you do have to really, really work on a new skill set. Maybe you do have to look at that part of yourself. And so that's my formula, is to always kind of look at where I'm avoiding or giving my power away.
So just so that we don't forget to tie it to the eventual breakthrough, because it is really powerful. When was the moment that you got the call about your first cover? And what happened immediately, like in the weeks/months before that?
So what ended up happening was really, really understanding and rooting into this idea of I get to create all of those emotions that I wanted and all of those things in my life for me. And it was when I had the community, when I really started to like create, like really work on the YouTube show and also do the cookbook. And I think just really put myself out there in my own way. Facebook Lives were, I don't know if Facebook Lives were coming out then, but I remember being so out there and never waiting and never thinking and never like trying to not worry about what other people thought and just putting everything that I wanted out into the world without waiting for someone else. And that was when I had created so much value within the community and I looked at myself as so valuable that all of a sudden, guess what happens? You become very valuable to other people when you look at yourself as very valuable.
That's so good.
And it's a moment of like becoming undeniable for yourself. And that's when people can't ignore you. And so when I went back to the magazines, I just had so much value to write down like, hey, here's what I would love to offer. Here's how I can help you. Here's how I could get you exposure. And that's when they said, oh, this is amazing because they're a business. And that's when I went and got the cover. And at that time, it was just kind of like, okay, I don't know if they're going to use this one, so you better have some freaking fun with it. And
like, so the way you went into the cover shoot was even different.
It was so different. It wasn't from a pick me, oh my God, are they going to take this? Oh my gosh, of course you want it more than anything. But at the same time, I was like, well, this is the experience you wanted, was to actually shoot the cover and like have that experience.
I'm just like having this moment where I'm like, my friend is so cool.
Aw.
And you went on to do 11 covers, 10? Was it only 10? Was it only 10 or was it 11?
I actually
She lost
don't
count.
know.
So many covers. But
theirs was like digital things and there were all these different.
But like that was such a catalyst moment. And when you were sharing that story, even though I had heard it before with our girlfriends, I could hear all those little moments. And when you tied it back to that, just that lesson for all of us is like, where am I waiting for someone else to anoint me? How has that now inspired the season that you're in with building Glossy?
Oh my God. I mean, you guys, it's everything. We're waiting to like get accepted by friend groups. We're waiting to feel good enough to, take the leap into something. We're waiting for someone to go, we're hiring coaches which is great, by the way, but I'm saying like we're literally spending money to get confirmation from someone. And I get it. I did all of those things too. But it's almost like allowing yourself, and this may not be your formula, but give it a try, but allowing yourself to really like observe how much you are avoiding your own power out of some sort of fear of either the work or of what's going to come with that power and attention. And it's like digging into that and going, oh, there it is. And when you find it, when you see it, it's ugly and it's confronting because it's work. It's work. And we're trying to avoid the work, like trying to find like a sweet, fluffy way that's going to come and be like, oh my gosh, you've done so much work so far. Let's reward it.
We found you. We've been looking for the most amazing woman in America. We found her. And they knock on your door with like a bouquet of flowers.
Who else dreamt of that? Like, I think like America's Top Model really fucked us over.
I was thinking Publishers Clearinghouse, but...
I was thinking when they like
Tyra
find
as
them
well.
on the the streets of New York. I'm like just walking around like, where are they? And they're like, it's not you, honey. But
That's so good though.
I just think that we get rewarded from all of our hard work with more hard work, but in a different way.
Well, and we were talking about that as we were preparing for this conversation, how, I think manifestation gets really glamorized and we can overlook the hard work part because there is a part of us, I think there's a part of our soul that knows we actually want to have skin in the game and we want to earn it. We actually don't want it just to drop from the sky without having to do at least some internal like spiritual work and evolve into the person who can hold it. So at some point you're going to meet yourself. You're going to meet a part of you that didn't want to do the work or is bumping up against where you feel really insecure or scared. And that is usually for me the point right when things are about to get good, but it feels like the most intense resistance you've ever experienced.
What for you is your like power opposite that you do?
My favorite flavor of self-sabotage.
Yeah, exactly. Favorite flavor of self-sabotage.
So I'm kind of playing it back because in this season, what I realize is that similar, but I think I have my own words and there's a different energy to it. I really am just waiting for someone to discover me. I am waiting for the perfect partner to show up on my doorstep, which
When do we tell that story?
kind of happened.
Because everything I just said is going to go out the window, and I'm just going to wait.
We're
now.
not sure. It's a research project. It's in the very early stages.
We're still in the lab. You should wear a lab coat.
I'm literally
Thursday.
blushing right now. But I'm waiting for someone literally showed up on my doorstep. That's what we're saying, guys. Okay, that's another story for another day.
It's not
but
the UPS man.
in business, this has not happened yet, where something just shows up without. What I'm trying to avoid is putting myself out there to possibly be rejected. I do this in so many different ways within my business. I hide behind the fact that I'm like, how amazing is it that Powerhouse Women has scaled and we have such a small audience? I hide behind that because I'm more comfortable with having a small audience. I don't want to put myself out there and put effort into growing an audience, have it not happen, and then find out that I'm not actually that special.
Ooh.
Just let that one land. Yeah. So when I look back at my version of when I was really searching for what is that pattern, where were the times where I felt that same resistance and I did something different and something transformed. For me, it was the season that preceded Powerhouse Women even being a thing. It was when I ended up writing a book. And what happened was I tapped into this energy, and I think it's so powerful. I talked a lot at our Expanders retreat, which there's a lot of Expanders alumni in the room this last retreat we had, about how, expansion as a formula inherently means, like, the moment you call in your next expansion, you're asking to be shown where you're limited.
So bad.
I was like, wow, I hope they got that on the audio.
We're like, do we really want this, or should we just drink wine for the rest of the night? Let's go back to our lower selves.
Right, exactly. Back to the doorstep. So when we're asking for expansion, we're actually asking to be shown where we're limited. It's awful. It's the worst and the best. Because when we see where we're limited, that's where we know our next action is. That's where we know we need to go and do some mindset work, some digger deeping. Or digger deeping?
Oh,
Deeper
I love
digging?
that. I loved it.
I like how you kind of just all went with that. That was great. So
it actually sounded right, didn't it? I was like, that is very spiritual.
Yes. So when I think back to even the energy that I feel in my life right now, having gone through such a personal identity death and, coming into this rebirth, what the energy feels like for me is just, I know that there is something that this season holds for me, but it feels really uncertain. And I love certainty. I love to have a plan. I love to know exactly where I'm going. If you give me a goal, I'll hit it. And in some ways that limits me because it has me think within the realm of what I already know. And what I'm realizing when I reflect back on everything that happened preceding Powerhouse Women becoming what it is today, it was a season where I had no idea why I felt drawn to doing certain things. In that case, it was writing a book. So I was on Facebook one day. A lot of you have heard this story, but I see this post from an acquaintance and it said, I'm something about doing a program that helped entrepreneurs get their message out in the form of a book. And I still to this day have the screenshot of the message I sent her that said, I don't know why I'm messaging you, but something said you should do that. And I had all of this evidence for how I was not a writer. I had tried to launch this blog. Some of you have heard of it. No one has read it because I didn't share it with a soul. It was called Love Lindsey.
Good blog.
Such a cute name, right? The branding was like pink and like hot pink and purple.
Of course it was.
I hated it from the start, but I paid this woman in my BNI group to do the branding, and she terrified me. I was so afraid of her, and I had no backbone. I was like, I love it. Hated it. But I wrote one article per year, and it never took off. No one ever discovered me.
That is shocking.
So I still to this day can't believe it. So I had so much evidence for why writing a book was not something I was qualified to do. But there was just something in me that was like pulling me toward this next yes. So I joined a program to write a book over a year, and I paid money. Whenever I say that, I'm like, I didn't get a publishing deal. No, I paid them money, and I said, take my money, hold me accountable. I'm going to do this. And over the next year, I tried to quit 3 times, like actually showed up to the call, was about to quit. And just something in me was like, okay, you already know what it feels like to quit. You've done that with so many other things. You get to the point where you're getting some momentum, but you also are starting to press up against the limit of what you know yourself to be capable of. You get scared, and then you want to quit. And the best part is I'm a Capricorn, so I can make my quit sound really cute. It'll sound like, gosh, I just need to give myself more grace. I think I'm just like burning the candle at both ends. And I am just, my bandwidth is, like I use really personally developed words to say, I'm fucking scared, I want to quit. And in those instances, in every moment where I was about to quit, what I'm proud of myself for was I was at least going to show up and quit like a woman. I was going to tell them to their face that I was like, thank you so much. This has been great, but I'm not going to be continuing. And the 3 times where I tried to quit, I would show up to these calls, these Zoom calls, and we would have to read out loud some of the copy we had written. And I did that part. And then afterward, I had this whole speech prepared. And I'll never forget the first one. And a woman was like, excuse me, I just have to interrupt. That was everything I needed to hear today. I showed up today and I was going to quit.
That's insane.
And I was like, this bitch. I literally remember being like, fuck, I was going to quit. Now you can't quit. And she's like, had you not written that, I would have given up on this dream I have. And I know I'm supposed to be an author. Like, I can't wait for your book. And I was like,
not happening.
Me either. So in those moments, like, and what was happening was I was really afraid to put something out there and have it be judged and have it be imperfect is essentially what it was. I wanted to be like the fully formed version of myself and get to show that to the world, not the imperfect part. So the book, I finish it at least, thank God. And then publishing time comes around. And some of you have heard this story. I go to publish and we hit Amazon bestseller. It was so exciting. And then my editor calls and she's like, I'm thinking she's calling to congratulate me. And I answer the phone and I'm like, hello. And she goes,
bestseller here.
Yeah, anything you want to tell me? And she said, I'm sick to my stomach. There's a typo on the cover and I just realized it. And so in this moment, it's like, that moment where I realized it was almost like the record scratch happened and it was like time stopped, like the Zach Morris TV timeout for anyone who's like 40 or above. And everyone else go Google Saved by the Bell. And I realized I had this choice to make because the old version of me would have pulled everything back. I would have been way too embarrassed. I just would have stopped because it was like the worst fear happened. I did something it felt so vulnerable to put that out there. And then it was imperfect. People were going to see me do this thing imperfectly. And then I got like messages about people finding typos in the book. And I was like, it's fine, everything's fine. And I remember just being like, no, I got this far using this mantra that I had heard, this girl that I followed on Facebook share all the time, that done is better than perfect. And I was like, what if I just leave it? Like, I got this far. What if I just let it go? Like, we'll fix the typos, whatever. And then that like led to, I had started this little Facebook group. And I love that Jill and Mary are here tonight because I shared this on our podcast just the other day. Like, I was too afraid. You were so brave. You did Facebook Lives to like all of Facebook. I created a Facebook group so that I could only do Facebook Lives in front of like 10 people. So I do this Facebook Live in the group. And it was around the time that the book was launching. And I remember wanting to throw up. I thought it was the worst thing I had ever done. Thought it made no sense. I thought my words were jumbled. And same thing. I was like, nope, I'm going to leave it up. I'm going to do the opposite, that everything, like my nervous system wants to bail right now because I don't want to be seen in a less than fully polished state. And so I leave it up, go to the gym because I had to like, my fight or flight was like, well, go somewhere. Otherwise you're going to take this down. And an hour later, my good friend Jill, who is the manager of Lululemon Scottsdale Quarter at the time, said, I just watched your live. And I just shared it with my entire leadership team.
Wow.
Actually, we're planning this staff meeting for about 50 people in 2 days. Will you come and like speak to our staff? And I remember being like, yes. like petrified, but kept leaning in. And so when I look at even everything in the early days of Powerhouse Women, there's so many moments where like we would not be sitting here today. I would love to believe I would have created something else. I feel that there's a calling on my life that was going to hunt me down and chase me until I finally surrendered to it. But in those moments were the moments that I got to overcome the very thing that I thought kept me safe when it actually kept me small. And little by little, every single time that I did, something really great would happen on the other side. But it was after a prolonged period of extreme discomfort. It wasn't like I always got the immediate gratification of someone saying, hey, will you come and speak? I saw your live. Because I'm still cringing like, God, she showed it to people. How embarrassing. But over time, doing more of those things is what I think just gave me the confidence. It gave me the trust in myself, which you spoke to this too. Then you get to the point where the energy that you're projecting out there that's a magnetic energy. But I think we miss these micro opportunities to build the self-trust that underlies, that's the current that underlies the most magnetic energy.
And thank God you left that typo in, because Powerhouse Woman wouldn't be here.
That would have been a great typo.
Powerhouse
No,
Woman.
it was an extra L in the word fulfill. So I would say I was very fulfilled.
And I probably didn't even notice it. But every time you tell that story, I forget that if it wasn't for your book, I don't think we'd be here right now. When Lindsey I was writing a book simultaneous to Lindsey. It started
and
about
I don't think I knew that.
3 years earlier than that, though. And I just kept like writing and writing and writing and writing this book, because I was like, I'm going to write this book, and when the book is done, I'm going to get it published, like thinking that's how this actually worked. That's not how a book actually works. Well, it can, but all of a sudden, I'm like in year 3 of writing this book that I just can't figure out how to write a book because I never learned and never got help, thinking I could do it alone. And Lindsey's book comes in the mail.
I was like, hey, I'm going to send this to you. I don't want anything for it. I just want you to know that literally hearing her say done is better than perfect is what got me through writing. And I wanted to send her a copy so she could see her impact. And
it was literally the sweetest ever, except at that moment, because I'm going to be so honest. Like in the personal development journey, this is like going to be like, oh, really? Is that how Lori is? Okay. I felt like maybe I was ahead of you in that moment, because I was like, okay, I've been speaking on stages, like I've been going and doing all these things, but I couldn't get my book done. So Lindsey, I freaking loved her. Like there was something about her that I'm like, I loved her. I literally already felt like she was my friend. But when I got a book from a girl who felt like she was maybe like coming to my stuff at the moment, this would be like if you started maybe coaching someone, or someone came into your world to be like, hey, I want to learn from you. And then they send you the thing that you can't seem to get done. I was like, oh, this is so cool that you're quoting done is better than perfect back to me right now. And so I freaking loved it. And I have to tell you, that was like the moment that I was like, fuck this noise. I'm getting my book done. Like this is, if she can do this, I can literally do this. And that was, I totally forget about that. Like I actually forgot, that was completely buried until you told that story last time. It's like, I can't believe that your book was an actual catalyst that lit a huge fire under my butt. So being jealous of someone or having a moment of, wait a second, was one of the most, you guys can take that and make it so powerful. I didn't go, oh, I hate this girl. I literally went, oh my God, she literally just did the thing that I can't seem to do right now. And it inspired me so much that was it. And that was also the moment for me that every time I saw you, I put you in the craziest high regard that you became a peer to me.
Because I was fulfilled.
Because I was like, I understood that she was on the battlefield with me. And I was like, that's a girl I really want to know. And I was so grateful for you. And like, that was it for me.
That's so cool to get to reflect back on that. And, so in this season, what I'm looking at is, okay, there's definitely this part of me that is waiting to be discovered, waiting for the perfect partner to show up on my doorstep, waiting for someone to be like, I'm here to take Powerhouse Women to the next level without you ever having to get uncomfortable. And I'm just noticing myself like when I'm in that energy, and then in a similar way to what I did in that season, looking for where I can do the opposite, right? Looking for where I can lean into fear, looking for where I can lean into opportunities when someone shows up on your doorstep, and just like being really uncomfortable. Like that is relationships right now are probably like the most tender place for me. Like my heart is like so afraid of being shattered again. But what can I learn about myself? What can I learn about what I'm capable of by leaning into the places that feel the least comfortable in the moment? And then the other energy that I realized from when I wrote the book, there was this powerful energy for me that I didn't write a book called Powerhouse Woman, just one, ever thinking it would turn into Powerhouse Women, thousands and thousands. I did it to prove to myself that I could, and it was it was a creative expression, which I'm realizing how much creativity is a part of me that I often suppress, and I value logic and performance and results over it, where I am like a really creative soul. So in this season, I kept getting this ping. Yes, I've thought about writing another book before, but all of a sudden I was like, I just have this vision of like documenting this time of life. This is such a transformative time of life for me. If you don't understand why, go back and listen to a couple episodes of the Powerhouse Women podcast, but basically like resetting my entire life. And what's so cool about this time period is that there's no one I have to be. I can literally decide to be anyone that I want, which sounds great, but it's also very intimidating. Because now the only limit is how big I can think. So in this season, I kept getting this little nudge. I haven't shared this anywhere other than with individual people, just to document. And I don't know what I'm making, but I'm documenting. Video, documenting my life, the behind the scenes moments, the things that most people don't get to see. And I don't know if that turns into a documentary. I don't know if it turns into something just for me to have, to capture like the tenderness, the beauty, the hard parts, and the beautiful parts of this season. But what it feels like is the same energy where I wrote a book never having any business intent. And it feels like I'm just supposed to capture this and let it show me what it's supposed to turn into. Just like the book wasn't meant to inspire a community and a business and being able to sit here today with my best friend and get to have these amazing conversations with all of you. So what I'm realizing is how much, again, my logical mind, especially now that there's team members and there's budgets and there's things that I have to be responsible for, is I forgot my creativity. I forgot to nurture the part of me that's the most magnetic. And that's the part of me that it doesn't necessarily always make sense in the moment, but it's a pure expression of my heart and soul. And there's going to be something beautiful that comes from that. I mean, at the end of the day, I still am a businesswoman. I believe there's going to be business value to me doing that, but I have to leave it right now unencumbered by, not weighted down by having this project need to become something. It has to have this energy, this pure energy of I'm just capturing it because I really want to document this right now. And then, I'll invite you all to the movie premiere whenever that happens. So it's been so fun remembering that was exactly how I felt for a whole year while I was writing a book, and I had no idea. I mean, that version of me could have never fathomed what came afterward. And I honestly think if that version of Lindsey could have seen 800 women in a room, or the things that I'm doing now, if she could have seen my life now, she probably would have been too scared to keep going. It would have been too much. It would have been too big. So I'm kind of grateful that my manifestation formula, I don't get to see much more than just a few steps ahead on the journey. So if you're stopping yourself right now by wanting to know the whole path or wanting to know, is this the right direction? I just want to invite you to check back in to find, because for me, if I can find like this pure energy of excitement, of intention, if I know that this would have added value to a previous version of me, that's my green light to keep going. And I can always pivot. I can always turn it into something else.
I love the like I just got to see how important the journey of, even if it's not happening right away, how important that is. And I know that's so important for me and for all of us in this room, and how even with the covers, you guys, I wouldn't even been ready on the one where they said, hey, come up, we're going to shoot a cover. I would have squandered it because I didn't understand business yet. Where what I saw a lot in that world is that you get a cover and they take the 15 minutes of fame and they lose it. You never see those girls ever again. They don't know how to hold it. And what happens is when people don't know how to hold it, it just disappears. It doesn't happen again. You didn't capitalize on it. You didn't use that moment that you got. And so, you know, the reason it didn't come any sooner for me is because I needed that whole year to understand that that magazine was a business, and that I also needed to operate as a business, and that I needed to use that cover to not only help my career and get myself out there, but to help them get out there. And simultaneously, it would be this like working ladder of us continuing to prop each other over and over again. And with that particular company, I think I had 4 or 5 different covers that, you know, you go back to year after year. That's a lot of years of working together. That's what I want you guys to see. It wasn't luck. It was a working, reciprocal relationship where it was like, this year, what can I do for them? This year, what could I bring for them? Oh, I'm speaking on that stage in front of 15,000 people. What if I pitch to them that if I got on another cover, that would be my backdrop for the whole hour I'm up there, right? Like, how much advertising is that? And that's literally what I did. And I did that year after year. How can I get them? How could I be free advertising for them over and over? And I would have never thought that way, Lindsey. I would have just squandered it, and I would have never gone back for a second one, because they would have been like, your cover kind of didn't sell that much, and you're kind of not offering us anything. And guess what? Everyone's pretty and fit in this industry. Like, you're not different. They are. Everyone's pretty and fit in this industry. Like, literally, what can you do for someone? And so I think when you're manifesting, we forget that it's not coming to you yet for a reason. There's something that you think it's going to provide for you that you actually need to go and provide for yourself. And so, or this is another big one.
You guys, Chris and I have so many businesses with so many people that are really important to us, customers whose calls we don't want to miss or don't want to miss communication with. Then OpenPhone is the #1 business phone system that streamlines and scales your customer communications. It works through an app on your phone or computer, so no more carrying 2 phones or using a landline, which Chris and I would talk about all the time, that we wanted 2 phones to just try to keep our lives a little bit separate. And with OpenPhone, your team can share one number and collaborate on customer calls and text like a shared inbox. That way, any teammate can pick up right where the last person left off, keeping responses and times faster than ever. Plus, say goodbye to voicemail. Their AI agent can be set up in minutes to handle calls after hours, answer questions, and capture leads, so you never miss a customer. So whether you're a one-person operation drowning in calls and texts, or have a large team that needs better collaboration tools, OpenPhone is a no-brainer. See why over 60,000 businesses trust OpenPhone. OpenPhone is offering my listeners 20% off of your first 6 months at openphone.com/earn. That's openphone.com/earn. openphone.com/earn. And if you have existing numbers with another service, OpenPhone will port them over at no extra charge. OpenPhone, no missed calls, no missed customers. The hardest part about starting a business is often getting started. Build your business in just 10 clicks in 10 minutes. Starting your business should be simple. Get more when you start your business with Northwest Registered Agent. Your entire business identity in just 10 clicks and 10 minutes. Northwest Registered Agent has been helping businesses launch and grow for nearly 30 years. If you want to build your business while keeping your personal information secure, Northwest is the partner you need. In just 10 clicks and 10 minutes, they'll form your business, create a custom website, and set up your local presence wherever you need it. Form your business for just $39 plus state fees, backed by real business experts with decades of experience. Protect your identity and keep your home address private by using Northwest's address on your information documents. Don't wait. Protect your privacy, build your brand, and set up your business in just 10 clicks in 10 minutes. Visit northwestregisteredagent.com/earn and start building something amazing. Get more with Northwest Registered Agent at northwestregisteredagent.com/earn. When I first started Glossy, I was so overwhelmed. I felt like I had to do everything on my own, because you do, and your to-do list just keeps mounting. But let me tell you, when you're starting off with something new, it just seems like that list is growing and growing and growing, and it can quickly overrun your life. So you have to start learning to find the right tools that can not only help you out, but simplify everything. And that is a game changer. And let me tell you, for millions of businesses, that tool is Shopify, and I am included in those numbers. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world, and 10% of all e-commerce in the US, from household names like Mattel and Gymshark to brands just getting started. And I'm going to add mine to the list, Glossy. Get started with your own design studio. With hundreds of ready-to-use templates, Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store to match your brand style. And you guys, I love my website so much that's on Shopify. Go and check it out. Also, Shopify is your e-commerce expert with world-class expertise in everything from managing inventory to international shipping to processing returns and beyond. If you're ready to sell, you're ready for Shopify. Turn your big business idea into cha-ching with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/happy. Go to shopify.com/happy, shopify.com/happy.
I think that we don't understand. I did not understand the amount of patience and letting go and not having something fulfilled that I want, and the inner temper tantrums that I would have to calm down that I was having frequently. That now that I have the business that I have, which some of you have way bigger businesses, some of you are doing totally different things. It's like the amount of things I have to hold with this company and then all the other things I have going on require a special kind of needing to let go of everything and not having gratification, sometimes for a year or 2 or 3, where you just feel like you're in the fire. And you guys, if I'm gonna eventually sell this company, it could be 7 years of no gratification. Like it could be 5 years without paying myself. So I would never have ever been able to sit in what I'm sitting in right now of just going, yeah, this is going to be hard for another 3 to 7 to 10 years. I have no idea. I would never have been able to hold that if I couldn't have held what it feels like to not get my way over and over and over again and keep showing up. And that's when you know, like, oh, you're becoming the person who can withstand something so much bigger, such a bigger company, right? Like I know for all of you who have something where you're like, wow, this is really big. Like I would have never been able to do this 10 years ago because I didn't have the patience, I didn't have the stamina, I didn't have the gratitude, I didn't understand it. So I do think that, you know, in these seasons we get really upset, but they're the ones that are turning us into the person who can handle the dream.
Yeah, I love that.
So we've got like 10 more minutes before break. So I want to ask you, I know we were talking about back there that manifesting doesn't necessarily feel good.
No,
Like
it's terrible. So much work.
There's an idea around like, okay, if you want to manifest it, you have to feel good every day, all day. And you're like, I'm feeling like shit right now, but man, what would it feel like to have $7 million in my bank account? And you're like, that's not the case right now.
Yeah.
Or I just got this bill or whatever is happening in your life at the moment. So I'm not saying we don't want you to learn how to get in the energy of it, but when you're actually doing it, like give me some real tangible examples of like, okay, this is what I have to do to manifest the thing, because it's not just manifesting, it's like manifest, plan. This is what I have to do with the thing. What does plan feel like? We were talking about this with Jackie. Where is she? Okay, she's back there.
She's hiding.
Okay.
Hiding from us.
Yeah. She's like, I don't want to be talking about
Well, okay, this is how I want to answer this question, and I know your answer is going to be different, but especially over the last year, I went so deep into my own inner work. I mean, we're talking inner child healing, a lot of shadow work, which is like shadows it's like the part of you that you don't even realize that you suppressed at a certain time because it felt safer, right? So even just as simple as admitting that I want a big life. I believe I am here on this planet to facilitate a lot of wealth and show women that that's possible. There was a version of me that did come up in, you know, more of the church environment that felt like a lot of the things that my adult self wants, my inner child felt very unsafe having. It felt like that made me a bad person, which felt like I wasn't going to get my needs met. Like it felt like my survival was very much in question. So understanding like how deeply rooted, even though I had an amazing childhood, I have amazing parents, going into like the nooks and crannies of the different programming that I didn't realize I kept bumping up against because I couldn't explain why. I remember feeling this way when we were both doing network marketing, is on the surface, it looked like I was doing all the same things as the people who were out earning me 10x. Or, you know, even if I look at, I mean, we talk about this all the time with like, you know, my audience size. I know that I am worthy of having a lot more like attention, a lot more eyeballs, a lot more of like those vanity metrics of like people knowing who I am or what Powerhouse Women is.
Can I say what I say to you sometimes?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can tell them all.
I'm like, because sometimes
Yes.
like recently, and we need to ask this question again, but you left me a beautiful voice note of like, hey, what do you see?
It was at
Where do you-
Expanders. I told everyone to
good.
go
Okay.
and ask someone that they knew would be really honest. What do you see as standing in my way?
And I had to take a minute because it's one of your best friends. You're like, she's perfect. I literally don't know.
She's
I was
an
like-
angel.
I was like, we need to drink more wine together. I don't know. We need
You
more
don't live in
vacations.
California?
I'm really pissed about it. I hate that you're not living in California. And then there's, and I've told you this before, but there's this place of, we look at Powerhouse Women and we're like, okay, this is huge and it is huge. But I'm also like, why don't you pitch yourself on big shows? Why don't you ever do that? Like, why don't you ever pitch yourself for big stages? Like, I don't
Who's
understand.
laughing? Amy, the PR gal in the audience.
I literally could not understand.
Cackling.
I'm like, you have this platform. You're fucking hilarious. You're amazing on stage.
Go on.
And I just had to say, you're so hot. Your butt is so round. Your hair is so like, it's crazy. The eyes so blue, like so intense.
Thank you.
But I literally was like, what is, you know, you have those moments with your friend where you're like, do you not want to be seen? But she was hiding behind, because she would always say like she's good with where she's at. Like she's good with this audience. Like you just seemed like you were good, or you brushed it off. So I never wanted to push it because I felt pushy. Like maybe not everybody wants what I want. And so it was a moment for me of when you were kind of like saying the different things out loud that I was like, wow, I didn't even fully know how much you were hiding.
And I think I'm still starting to like peel back those layers. I can't say like I did this one meditation and all of a sudden my fear of success
But let me
completely
send you
went
the
away.
link to the link that she did do.
Well, but I mean,
Is
but
it
really,
often?
Anna Marie is in the audience tonight, and she'll be coming on the podcast soon. I've been doing such deep work with so many different people, but you know, Anna Marie is an intuitive therapist. She and I have done sessions on like going deep into even like past life stuff around like where was it not safe to be seen in a really big way? Because I hold this dichotomy within myself, and I don't know if anyone relates to this. It's like, there was in the early stages such a fear of not being enough. Like a lot of that was shed with going through the process, like this rite of passage of writing a book. And then I think I've kind of stayed in this in between of now I'm afraid to be too much. And it feels like it's tied to like an actual, like it wouldn't be safe for me to be fully seen. Like I can feel my own power within me, and it scares me. And so if you listen to the Powerhouse Women podcast, I'm sharing a lot about what I'm doing in the moment right now, because that's all that's it. It's like once there's a layer that will come off, and it's coming off layer by layer by layer.
Yeah,
the universe is starting, oh God, like starting to reveal, I mean, breakthroughs, like literally someone showed up on my doorstep. Stop it. Stop. You're so bad. But like even that where it's like, no, I'm not ready. Like I'm not ready to put myself out there. And here's the other thing. I'm going to do a podcast on this. The energy of love and money is the same. So it's like where we hide in our most intimate relationships is the same place we hide in our most intimate money relationships. And I'm seeing how much I'm calling in expansion. So now I'm being mirrored with where I'm limited. And it's a different kind of discomfort. Like I actually prefer the kind of discomfort I went through last year in a fucked up way.
Yeah.
meaning like my whole life kind of crumbled down around me. Somehow that was more comfortable. And here's why, because I had to work hard to overcome it. Now my lesson is literally how good can it get and how good can I let it be?
Okay, so if you came over to my house right now, I would probably make you go into one of the guest rooms and just crawl into the bed, because I am such a bedding junkie that I would need you to experience how awesome my bed sheets were. And if you know anything about me, I am obsessed with sleep because I feel like I'm such a different person. When I get my sleep, I perform at a much higher rate and I'm just a whole lot nicer. And you guys, one night with Quince's European linen and you would understand the hype. These sheets are light, they're breathable and super soft, and they have that perfectly lived-in vibe. They're woven from 100% European flax linen, and they have that heirloom quality that feels like it gets softer with every wash. And the same goes for their ultra plush duvets, quilts, pillows, and shams too. Quince has everything you need to level up your bed. And the best part is, like Quince's clothing, their bedding is half the cost of similar brands. And by partnering with top artisans, Quince cuts out the cost of the middleman and passes the savings on to us. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes. And especially when the weather changes, I switch out my blankets. And my favorite blanket that I got from them is the vintage wash European linen bed cover. And I got it in the oat color because it works perfectly with everything that I have in my super neutral room that I'm obsessed with. So let your bed match the season with cool, relaxed bedding from Quince. Go to quince.com/happy for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's quince.com/happy, QUINCE.com/happy to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/happy. I'm so excited to share this. You guys know I never shy away from big, scary leaps, those super messy, what the heck am I doing moments. And This is Small Business just kicked off a new season and it's all about risk. You know, I'm obsessed with this topic because that's what it takes. The host, Andrea Marquez, takes us behind the scenes with fearless founders who turn their maybe later ideas into heck yes, let's go adventures. These episodes have it all. They have raw stories of grit, honest advice, and so much inspiration. I got full body goosebumps listening. I was nodding along thinking this is exactly the kind of fuel we all need when chasing our big dreams. So if you need that extra push to go after your own hell yes vision, you have to check this out. Go follow This is Small Business on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. I can't wait for you to hear it. A lot of you are like me and you started your business or your podcast or your courses because you were super passionate about something and you wanted to turn it into your life's purpose and your job. But once you got started, you had no freaking idea how hard the marketing portion was going to be and how many different hats that you were going to have to wear. By the time you even get to the marketing portion, you're usually exhausted or you don't know what step to take next. And that's why I'm so excited to introduce you to Constant Contact, because it's going to help you with so many of those problems. Constant Contact's award-winning marketing platform is here to make marketing way easier and way more effective for small businesses like yours. The best part? You don't need to know anything about marketing. Your struggle with expensive, slow, and unmeasurable marketing is over. With their all-in-one platform, you can create and manage attention-grabbing campaigns in just a few clicks. Email, text, social media, events, landing pages, you name it, it's all in one place. No more juggling dozens of different tools. So I'm so glad that I found Constant Contact and can't wait for you guys to get started. Get a free 30-day trial when you go to constantcontact.com. Try Constant Contact free for 30 days at constantcontact.com. That's constantcontact.com.
And it's so scary, you guys.
It's like some people have the applause sign. We have that just like
But it's like, that's what we all say we want. And then it shows up on your doorstep and you're like, nah, not today. Not today.
I'm literally just like, do I want the things I want? Because it is like, do I really want that like horrible expansion? I don't know. I'm just being honest. Like
Yeah.
there are moments I'm like, yes, I want this, but I'm so tired. Period.
End of story. But it's
That's
like
all.
the reason that we are friends and we're friends with people in this room is that we all know that we are here in this lifetime to do something bigger. And big is relative, right? It's going to be relative for all of us, but that inherently means we are here on a growth journey. There's a part of us that would die away if we weren't challenging ourselves. We talk about this all the time. If you stopped doing Glow See today, if I stopped doing Powerhouse Women today, a month from now, catch me starting something that's like powerful females.
You'd start Powerhouse Women and I'd start Hosie.
Exactly. I mean, people are pulling for me to have a hoe face, so it's not happening, guys. It is not happening. I'm still a good girl.
Back to manifesting. Back to you, Clark. Yeah. So where were we?
Okay, so how much do you hate the growth process right now? Like, where is it most uncomfortable? Where is the discomfort showing up
I'll
at
tell
your
you,
doorstep?
like, so Chris and I have this conversation probably daily right now because having 2 startups in the house is pretty intense. Just honestly, who works with their partner at all at home? Okay, it's a thing. Or who has like a bestie and you guys are really out in it together, like you have somebody. Yeah, okay, that's also a thing. You know, I think the cool part is once you get to a certain place, quitting is off the table. So I'll just say quitting is off the table for us. It has been for a lot of years. So that's really good. So this is the conversation we always go back to is like, this is the over personal development conversation between 2 people who do too much personal development. And it's like, okay, Glossy's super hard. His stuff is super hard. There's been pivots in both. We have conversations where we're humbled daily, sometimes humiliated, sometimes, you know, not all the time, but yeah, there are moments where you're like, that was really tough. And that was with someone who you talk to a lot of people who sometimes aren't nice, and it's rare, but it happens and it can kind of take you down. And, you know, there are times where you're like, wow, am I bad at business because things are not going great? And you can really look at yourself over and over. And if you're not talking to a bunch of different founders all the time, things aren't normalized that are very normal. And so, you know, the big thing that we're doing is surrounding ourselves with other people in our exact situation. So we're feeling a whole lot better. But the conversation continues to be, you know, if we could go back and change anything, or if we had the opportunity to get rid of this or sell it right away, or, you know, if someone just came along and offered us like the base value for it to be able to pay off investors and have nothing, would we take it? That's very tempting on your worst days, or to be like, let's just sell the asset. Like, let's see what we can get for it. So tempting, you guys. But then we play the movie to the end and we go, okay, yeah, let's pretend that scenario happens, right? Someone comes and they're like, we're going to take all your problems away and you can be free and clear your investors and just start from scratch and feel great about everything. And I'm like, do you know what I would do? I'd literally start Glossy all over again. I would start this same exact type of company. I probably would take investors again, because if I'm being really honest, even though it can make me feel sick to my stomach just because you feel so responsible to people, it's the thing that keeps me showing up for it every single day, doing things I wouldn't normally ever do, like asking really hard questions every single day over and over and over again to people who are maybe celebrities or people who are big investors, or to, you know, people who like are kind of the gateway to a store, whatever that looks like. And I wouldn't be doing it, you guys, because it's my soul knew. Some people are like, why did you take investors? Why didn't you just build it slow or whatever? And I'm like, I actually don't know. I do know. My soul literally knew that I would have quit on myself. But my soul's journey is that I can't disappoint other people. And as bad as that is, and as much as I want to try to work through that, it's also been the thing that's made me follow through on my highest calling. And I think that's a lot of us in here. I think that's why we're in this room, is we know if we go and tell another woman what our dream is, we feel worse telling her we quit than just letting it be okay that we quit. And so I think that's why it's so important to find that accountability, to get that accountability, to tell all your friends. If it means investors and you know that's going to keep you showing up, great. Because there's definitely so many journeys that are gonna keep you doing it. And I think that sometimes with manifesting, we forget that part of your manifesting formula is massive accountability. And so you want a manifesting formula. It's like you need to get out there and create your network that won't let you fail, that won't let you quit on yourself.
It's making me think of this inspirational quote I once read. The gospel of Instagram that said, opportunity is often missed because it's dressed in overalls and it looks like work. And it's so true. It's like, it's so easy, and we do it too, to look at people who have a result that you want and just think that someone showed up on their doorstep and handed it to them. And it's never, I mean, you are someone, and there's so many women in this room that I've had a front row seat to see all of the seeds that they've planted along the way. Like Jocelyn is here, and Mary and Jill, and every single woman I'm looking at, it's like the women who have actually been there every step of the journey with me. Like we've gotten to see each other's like rawest moments that most of the world doesn't get to see. But every single person that we look up to, every single person we want to emulate their journey, they have them. They have the same hard moments that you do. And if nothing else, it's a reminder that oftentimes the exact unlock for the result that you want is disguised as the thing that's going to trigger you the most.